United Nations warns escalating military activity in Syria could derail efforts to reconvene the peace talks later this month. UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon made the remarks in a letter to the Security Council. He said violence is fading the prospects for a political solution in Syria. The UN chief added that as long as some parties pursue the strategy of military victory, there's little hope for bringing the warring parties back to the negotiating table. Syria's peace talks are set to resume on February the 25th. The warring sides went to the Swiss city of Geneva earlier this month for negotiations, but the talks were suspended after the opposition set preconditions for dialogue. Let's speak to Saeb Shaath. He's an author and Middle East expert, and he joins us via Skype from Belfast. Many thanks for joining us here on Press TV, Mr. Shaath. Now, what are your opinions on the prospects of finding a political solution come February the 25th?
My own take on the terror war being waged on Syria for a long time has been, think of it as a geopolitical war which is waged by imperialist forces. Take it from Syria up to China, that stretch of land and sea and islands among that stretch of land. So Western powers and their puppets in the region, such as Saudi Arabia and the Turks, are not interested at all in peaceful settlements in Syria. Daesh threat is, if we talk that, has been manifesting itself in Syria and Iraq for many years. Why this sudden change of heart for the Saudis and the Turks, and they want to send land forces, if it's for propaganda or for real? If Turkey is just for a country, like interested in shutting down Daesh, the procedure to do that is easy and effective. Turkish government have to only close the borders and stopping the flow of supplies and mercenaries to go from its territories to Syria. And the most important factor in here, they stop the flow of Daesh, of oil, Syrian stolen oil, from Daesh-controlled territories in Syria and in Iraq. That will in itself dries Daesh from all the financial and economical means it wields to strengthen its position in Syria. So they are not
Mr. Shaath, let me just jump in there. Looking at the current events, the Syrian government did agree to a cessation of hostilities on the ground.
Yeah, but at the same time, the Turkish, if we notice after the Syrian agreed to that, they start shelling territories in Syria after the Syrians and the Democratic Coalition, which Kurdish forces part of it, managed to liberate Meng airport. The Saudis went mad. They started calling for another coalition like their coalition in Yemen. This one, they called it the Islamic Coalition. The one in Yemen, they call it the Islamic Sunni Coalition, this one, sorry. The one in Yemen, they call it the Arabic one. And they want to send forces to Syria. All of that, they want to capture any peace in the north of Syria, if they can. If the forces, or if they even use that kind of propaganda to pressurize the Syrian regime, since they lost their forces, the terror groups which they built and supported, and the only way for them now to think are practical or viable for them after Syria and its alliance managed to destroy most of these terror gangs in there, is to send the troops, to send Turkish troops or Saudi troops under the cover of they want to destroy Daesh. And when they arrive to a territory controlled by Daesh, what they're going to use? They're going to use a new name. Daesh have to drop its name now and will call itself something else, and they will establish any territory in there, because as far as I know, Daesh and most of these groups are created and supported by the Turkish and the Saudis, and it's in there to serve their strategic global geopolitical game. And that's
right,
why
we're going to have to leave it there. Unfortunately, we have run out of time. That's author and Middle East expert Saeb Shaath joining us via Skype from Belfast. Mr. Shaath, thank you very much indeed for your comments here on Press TV. Unfortunately, we had to stop the discussion short.